Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
First things first, I want to actually show something very exciting for many people. They've been asking for this nonstop. And well, first thing is a manager redesign. So this is the manager redesign. We're going to move this button over here and make this text white, but quick little new image, just getting something else out there as we continue to advance the manager. We also added this use custom button. But then on top of that, we have increased entries inside the manager. And you might ask what pairs. So on all strategies, let me go back to our wonderful pair chart. Should be right here. So we're actually I'm gonna edit these and increase them. But what you're gonna see is from where we are now, this is what's programmed in the manager you guys have. And what's gonna be programmed into the manager I'm rolling out today is these entries are gonna be raising up. All right, so AUDCHF, earliest entry is now going to be at a gear 4 on swing. All right, CAD JPY, same thing. We're bumping it up by 2. Anytime I see anything getting those higher drawdowns, those pairs, especially those two, they've been worse. Euro CAD hasn't been as bad, but AUDCHF and CAD JPY, they've definitely been on the worst side. Euro AUD as well is getting bumped up to match GBP NZD. Euro Swiss francs getting bumped up 1. NZD Swiss francs getting bumped up 1, and the JPY pairs as well are getting bumped up 1, including GBP JPY, Euro JPY, and USD JPY. So we will be moving over, up some entries based on the market conditions. We're always adapting to the market conditions, and right now we're in a season where we see there's more unpredictability in the market. Some of these pairs aren't respecting their typical average true ranges. And, due to that, the best thing you can do is, as live forward testing data suggests it, we continue to get more precise entries so that, drawdowns decreased and more profit is increased. That's our goal with GearBox always, is increase things where we need to constantly be increasing profit and decreasing risk. Now, I want to go back to this VPS I just showed you guys, because there was one more thing about this that I wanted you guys to see. If anybody picks up on these comments, these are GearBox comments. But what were these? And this is Einstein comments. So what this means is GearBox now has the capability, and the update I'm rolling out later tonight, to actually pick up on any Einstein trades and continue management. Meaning you could come switch to GearBox, use the sniper strategy, and it would continue to manage your current trades with the original strategy, just with high volatility settings, which are programmed in here. And once it's out of those trades, it would manage it based on the new strategy. This has been a heavily requested feature for people that are on that product and have been looking to start using GearBox, because GearBox has given you much of all of the same capabilities plus more. So we're very excited about that, and to help people. I see somebody says, what's the custom button for? Awesome. So inside the manager, we also obviously have the ability for you to enter gears above. All right, but each strategy already has gears above programmed into them based on this chart, right? So all the gears above are already programmed in each strategy, but let's say you wanted to apply custom gears above. Maybe you just said, I'm just gonna run every pair where it enters on 4, right? It's just crazy, it wouldn't be smart, but let's say you just said, no, I wanna enter on 4 and then 5 after Wednesday. You could go apply it across any pairs you want. So just super cool. That's for somebody who wants to apply custom gears above settings. They can use the custom button to apply their own custom strategy across different pairs. So just continuing to give the manager much more functionality so that everyone can really use it how they want to use it. I'm reading through the comments here. Everyone keeps asking about EuroCAD. All right. Yeah, I mean, somebody said, can you tell the difference between the Einstein trades versus GearBox trades on GearBox? By the comments. So as you see here, these were Einstein trades, sell trend, all capital, GearBox are lowercase. So you can see though that I picked up the Einstein trades. So there was a sell trend level 6 here open, and boom, USD JPY went and opened a sell gear a level 7, which is the same sequence of trades. And then same for Euro JPY here. Euro JPY came and opened up there. So just a fun strategy. Now, you know, I know some people maybe had some different days with Einstein, and I just wanted to come in here and show mine and show this is how I design all my strategies, including GearBox, including Einstein, because I know some people had different results. I was able to take a beating. Yes, JPY pairs took Einstein on a beating, but did I blow the account? No. Did I get a higher drawdown? No. So I'm constantly advancing all the strategies, including all the GearBox strategies to be the same way, right? Boom. You know, this strategy is doing great, but I was running 6 max pairs at once. And guess what? CHF pairs, I got in all 6 of them at the same time twice, right? They've returned profit and they've done their thing, but at the same time, with that risk, my account's still fine. I'm not freaking out. It's able to handle it. And that's the goal with any strategies. You don't want to be overly aggressive, because if you become overly aggressive, you could have a bad day. Nobody wants to have a bad day when trading, especially in unprecedented times now. You know, so it's good to try and, you know, stay on the more conservative side as we look through many of these accounts and what they've experienced, you know, on the results. The same concept. Everyone's pretty much throughout many of these accounts I look at in the same drawdown right now, depending on the pairs they got in, right? Some aren't in those same pairs, some are in them. Everybody gets in different pairs. So, you know, accounts are all going to look decently different based on the strategy they're using and the pairs and what's going on. But I'm just flying through some accounts here, and we're going to go back to the 1 pair data and talk a little bit about it. This is custom period looking from November on an account. But yes, you know, many of these accounts crushing it was, you know, let me get into the 1 pair data, and then I'm going to get all righty. So here's some of the 1 pair data and why I made these justifications. I'll tell you guys this all the time. If something goes over 25% drawdown on a little $500 account, I raise the entry by 1. If it goes over, and these accounts were running on swing settings, and if it goes over 50% drawdown, I raise it by 2. That's why AUD CHF got raised by 2. CAD JPY, that's why it got raised by 2. Yes, CAD CHF should be raised. Somebody had mentioned that. I'll raise it in the next version. I mean, I might even be able to raise it today. I'll get with my my programmer right now and say, hey, raise CAD CHF as well. But other than that, most of them look at Euro CHF. Maybe I think we did bump that one already. Yep, we did. And you can see, you know, we're just bumping things based on what makes sense. To make sure that, you know, we're getting the most precise entries. And I always judge this off a little $500 account. I say to myself, if a $500 account gets in 25% drawdown, we need to raise the entry. If it gets in 50% drawdown, we definitely need to raise the entry, just running an individual currency pair. So this live forward testing data always is helping me make the most precise and accurate decisions to increase and enhance the GearBox experience. I see Stanley say, can we manually manage our trades once the trade has been open? For example, close out partial profits or losses. The only thing I would ever do if you're going to close out manually is close out a whole sequence. So like if you were close to take profit and just didn't want to wait, or you just were happy with the floating profit, you could close it, but I would close the whole sequence. I wouldn't close portions of the trade because it's all like a balancing act in a mathematical wheel, and sometimes that can play against you. All righty, let's see. I don't see too many other questions in here. I just want to continue to bring as much value as possible. Oh, there's one other feature in the latest GearBox update also going out today. The lot size multiplier. This has been a thing that some people have noticed, whereas if you put your lot size multiplier as 1 and you had a 0.01 starting lot, that it was still incrementing and going 0.02, 0.03, 0.04. In this next update, that is fixed. If you put 0 or 1 here, it will not increment the starting lot size at all. So, you know, I know some people have been asking about that. So that has been done, and that is in this current update as well. D-Wald said one stop loss is coming into play and it'll close the entire sequence or only that one position. No, it'll only close that one position, D-Wald. Morrow said, can you give us an example how you would close a whole sequence? Well, a whole sequence would mean all the pairs on that currency. So right here, I see Euro JPY. That would mean that I'm going to close all 3 of these trades. I'm not going to leave any Euro JPY trades open if I'm going to close the entire sequence, because it's a sequence, all the trades on that one pair going the same direction. So if I wanted to close all the sells because they're in profit, I would do that way. But I'm going to get into a little bit of what the intraday modes are. Some people have been asking about them. There's going to be new videos that are updated in the Academy this weekend that goes into intraday modes. So instant entry is essentially Einstein. To be completely blunt with you, the reason it exists is some people are going to be switching from Einstein, but still want some of the more features that GearBox has for management, but while still using the same strategy they're used to. So instant entry is programmed with the same, you know, high volatility setting strategy that it's very conservative, but you know, it can withstand large market movements. It's not gonna lose you all your money. It's solid, but it's a more hands-on strategy. And that's why I created GearBox, because I said, you know, why enter these beginning trades where you could have skipped all the drawdown, right? And that's just, like I said, it's there for that. Now, skip a level is going to be a bit of a different strategy. With skip a level, it's actually essentially what we call it. You're skipping a level. You're just skipping gear 0. So the thought process behind skip a level is that weekly there's different pairs that range. And I have a tool, which I'm going to start showing on my intraday calls. They're going to start on Thursday, where I'm going to use that to determine the 6 pairs to scan. And you'll only, depending on your balance, allow 1 to 3 pairs to trade at once. But you'll be able to scan 6 ranging pairs and just wait for them to go over their gear 0. You know, so it's a cool strategy for intraday, just a little more hands-on, a little more risk, gets a lot more trades than, you know, precision modes. But again, it's for, you know, a more advanced or novice user who wants to be a little more hands-on. So those new modes were added for those users that they're just looking for a little more. They understand the risk. They're trying to get in and out of the market a little sooner, do different things. You know, so that's how to view that. You can see here's an account. You know, this is the average drawdown I think we're seeing for everybody right now. Is, you know, depending on the account size, pretty realistic. People are a little under 10 to 15% with the moves that have occurred, which is again why we're bumping up entries. But you know, just very powerful stuff. Now let's see. Somebody said, can you confirm what range multiple setting you have in position size multiplier? Absolutely. Oops, I froze this one using the manager because I didn't remove all and then apply it. Best to always hit remove all and then apply. So I'm using a 1.35 range multiplier and a 1.15 position size. Somebody said, what's the difference between them? Well, the position size is what your next lot size multiplies by. So if you're using 0.01, it's going to multiply by 1.15. Then the next lot size is going to multiply by 1.15 as it increments up in its cost averaging attempts. Same with your range multiplier to give you a visual. Perfect. This was the original Einstein calculator. So I'm going to give you guys a visual here. Ignore these are the wrong inputs. Let me refresh this. I was trying to show somebody the difference in settings yesterday and their risk based on it, but let me reload this. Okay, here we go. Range multiplier 1.35. So With the 1.35 range multiplier, what you're going to notice here is that your range continues to multiply by 1.35, making the distance between each cost average attempt more aggressive. Same with the lot size here in the scenario. You can see it's just multiplying by 1.15. Now, let's say I flipped those two numbers. I'm going to show you how much the risk could increase. And now you see when doing that, we're getting into those next levels much sooner. Our total pips is much less by the time we get to level 7, and our lot size is a lot higher, meaning that we've deployed a lot more lots into the market a lot sooner, which could play in your favor, but also could go against you very quickly if something trended. So that's why we run them the other way, where you see the 1.35 and the 1.15. It makes a big difference. You know, you're getting another 200 pips before you even hit level 7. So that's why I do that. And Miles, great question. He said, will there be videos and settings for this Einstein transition? Yes, there's going to be. I'm also going to probably pick up another weekly call. So we're going to do Thursday calls for intraday, Friday for precision, and then just for the next few weeks as we help people transition, you know, that want to just switch to GearBox. We're going to have probably a Sunday call. I'm going to have all that stuff outlined very soon, but that would be a call to help people before market open and making that switch. Let's read through some more comments. No, Pamela said she has 6 USDCH. Oh no, she says I have 6 USDCHF pairs. I think you mean you have 6 USDCHF trades, Pamela. And she said one is in profit 150 and the other is negative like 150. She's saying if I close the one in profit, it could negatively hurt the others. Yes, if you have 6 USDCHF trades and they're negative and only one's positive, the only thing you would want to do is close out the whole sequence. So if the whole sequence right now was break even, where you wouldn't have any, you know, loss or a minimal loss, and you wanted to get out of that trade, absolutely, you could close the whole sequence, but I wouldn't just close the profitable trade and leave the negative. That would play against you. It'll get you stuck in drawdown for a long time. You don't want to do that. All righty. I'm not seeing anything too exciting from you guys today. You guys don't seem excited enough. I guess this is what happens when people get in some drawdown. All righty. Let's get into the next week coming up and take a look at Forex Factory and what's going on. Stanley said he's super excited. He just got his first ever trade alert. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get into my FX book here. And let's actually go to Forex Factory. Perfect. And we are going to take a look at the upcoming week and the events surrounding. Perfect. So we see we got some AUD red folders here right on Sunday. We got USD on Tuesday with core sales. We got CPI and FOMC again this week, and unemployment and unemployment change. It looks like a big red folder week. So I would stick to the same strategy I was using this week, but with the increased entries of the GearBox manager to really make that happen. You know, but it's going to be a big red folder news week, it looks like. Philip, I see your question about the larger multiplier. We're testing things, and when we get there, I will keep you guys informed constantly. It's on the new features list every week. I make an update with the new features added and the things still on the list. So it's all on the priority list to continue to add all these amazing new features to GearBox, from correlation to larger multiplier for larger accounts. Lots of exciting stuff. Did I miss the addition of the trailing stop? No, there's no addition yet of a trailing stop. Again, these are things that are on a list for things to do, but there's a priority with everything, you know, because some features take a lot of testing before we can roll them out to thousands of customers, you know, especially things that involve trailing stops or larger lot multipliers, which could also inherently increase risk, lots of different things. So, you know, we're continuing to study data. D-Walt said, are you running US pairs again? Yeah, I would run US pairs again. You know, obviously they're volatile, but we've increased the entry on many of them. And, you know, if you you don't want to trade them, you can simply just close them out. Anytime there's a pair that you guys don't like, remember, you don't have to run them. That's the great thing about GearBox. You have so many pairs. If you say, hey, I don't like JPY pairs, I'm gonna close them. If I don't like Swiss franc pairs, I'm gonna close them. If I don't like USD pairs, I'm gonna close them, right? If we study the one pair data, we know that, what inherently does best, and GBP pairs are crushing it, right? GBP CAD, GBP AUD, GBP NZD, GBP USD. These 4 pairs alone on GearBox, it's a patience game, don't get me wrong, but you run these on swing settings, they've produced the lowest drawdown and the most profit. But obviously, like I said, that's a super conservative patience game strategy. But if you're okay with that, waiting for those really precise entries and knowing some weeks you're not going to get a trade at all, yeah, I mean, why not just run GBPs? So, again, it's all up to the people who decide what pairs they want to run. Simply, I'm going to start actually highlighting what pairs are performing the best over time, and highlight the top 10. So that, people can also make informative decisions on if there's some they don't want to run and there's some they do. Yeah, London, you don't have to pause for news. We've never done that, with GearBox, because news plays in GearBox's favor most of the time, because that's where you're actually going to get your entries, is often from that red folder news. Jake, your stop losses they don't move if you change them. It'll only apply the new change to your stop loss to the next trades. It won't modify open stop losses. And even if you put max gears to 10, it may not open a new position if balance protection is active. Remember, in GearBox by default, you have a setting called balance protection, which at balance protection is at 25% drawdown, which it will not take another new trade if you hit 25% drawdown. So if you're wanting it to take a trade and balance protection is active, you'll need to increase that on all your charts, which you can just do it by the manager and apply it quickly to all the charts. Max, yes, you could run some pair swing and some sniper on the same account. You would not be able to use the manager to make all that adjustment. So if the majority of them were sniper, you'd use the manager, and then you'd go modify the ones that you wanted to be on swing individually by just decreasing the gears above by -1, if that makes sense. So, yeah, Jatel, if I told everybody that, there would be no proprietary software. That's the key, is that in understanding it, if you play lower time frames, it's going to play both sides of the market, where it's going to enter trades based on different things along those lines. Now, if you're playing the daily, that might look a little different, right? So like in this case, this account's playing H1, all right, you might see on some of these pairs, it's playing both sides, sometimes not, but often, on more volatile pairs here. Let's look at USD JPY. We can see we're playing both sides on USD JPY right now, where, we're in a buy 0 and a sell 2. That way, really, if the market went either way right now, a few hundred pips, we'd get an entry, which it would be in an overextended range to catch a reversal. Can you explain balance protection and how it relates to DD? Balance protection just stops you from taking new trades. It won't close trades. It just stops you from taking new trades. So at 25% drawdown, my belief is that if a customer is not looking at their account and they go into 25% drawdown, this is going to be the difference between if a black swan event happens or a flash crash, somebody staying in the game and staying alive and having majority of their capital or even making a profit, or, potentially someone, just trading and trading, are deploying all their max levels when there's no point to yet. So it's just, it basically just helps keep your equity safe and protect you as a person, no matter what situations happen in the market. So it's a great feature to just help protect capital and, crazy times. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chats today. If you guys have, so swing mode has the best return, risk, and strike rate. Not GBP JPY. GBP JPY actually no, got in trouble. The best pairs. Where is my one pair data? Here it is. One pair data. The best pairs are right here. It's going to be these GBP pairs: GBP AUD, GBP CAD, GBP NCD, GBP USD, and swing settings. These four have been crushing it. These are by far, some of my favorite pairs. Now, if we go study also, AUD CAD has done incredible. You know, it's had a little bit higher drawdown, but it's done incredible. It's up 63% as well. EuroCAD, as much as, some people are upset with it, EuroCAD's done pretty phenomenal. It still has only gotten a 12% drawdown for me. Like I said, EuroCAD hasn't justified me raising it yet. Yeah, I know some people are in it, but it hasn't really ran that far. And just looking at the data on what performs and what doesn't. But I would say NZD USD is pretty good as well. But really look at this, USD CAD is phenomenal. USD CAD is crushing it. So yeah, I mean, the one pair data can tell you a lot on what pairs perform the best. And if I had to choose 6 on here, I'd say these plus AUD CAD. Those would be my 6, right? The top 6 that are performing right now with historical data to back it and months of running. Those pairs have absolutely just crushed it. Now, again, it's always a patience game when you're using pairs with higher entries, but at the same time, when they hit, they hit. Ghost Trade Gab Walker said, my intent's to protect 75% of my account. How do I do that? Well, do you mean if you hit 25% in drawdown Ghost Trade Gab, that you want to close all your trades, or that you want it to stop taking new trades? Because that's the difference, right? There's 2 different equity settings in GearBox. You have your max equity risk, which is, okay, you put this at 75 at 25% drawdown, or not 20, you put 25% here. Yeah, it's going to close you at 25% drawdown. You put 75, same concept. So in understanding that, you have to decide what your max equity risk is. So for balance protection, I use this instead. I leave my max equity risk at 100%, so I don't have a hard stop loss. I just stop taking trades at 25% drawdown. Now, some people might have a more aggressive strategy where they run an equity protector. I'll tell you that I have a GearBox strategy I'm using that I run right now a 10% equity protector on, because if it hits it, I want to get taken out because the profit beats, the risk. But that's a really aggressive strategy. It's not for, the novice person. But yeah, balance protection, that's how that would work. Yeah, you would put 25% in balance protection if you wanted to have it stop taking trades after 25% TD. Is having 6 GBP shares trading risky? What if GBP tanks? Well, I wouldn't trade them all 6 of them at once. I mean, I'd have my max gears at the same as normal, and I'd have my risk dialed in appropriately. But remember, you also have to look at correlation. It's not just 6 GBP pairs. You also have to look at how much they all correlate to each other as well. The correlation tool is not available yet. That's a much more advanced feature. It's going to take some time to program. And you all know this is not the worst position. I've been testing this product for a year, and I saw in June and July some crazy moves that were in the market during my initial testing, which is where I came up with a lot of the features, which are why your accounts are doing great right now. So, I've created this to be able to weather situations exactly like what you guys are in now, which isn't even bad. It's pretty normal for most EAs, and GearBox just typically keeps you in no drawdown. So the first time people see 15, 20% drawdown, and it doesn't swing the same week and everyone's freaking out because we've had a great run, right? But this is a part of trading. There's going to be some weeks like that where we looked at this and we say, all right, let's just let it do its thing and continue to increase entries where we need to. But also, like I mentioned, yeah, correlation. Somebody asked about the GBP pairs. Well, you got to go in and take a look. Where is correlation tool? I'm gonna just have to Google correlation. So what's important about understanding correlation, and for those of you who are more advanced users, when making your decisions, and especially if you're an MAV user, you have the approval to approve trades. You could decline trades that are correlated too in the meantime with the MAV version. So let's get into the market correlation here. And first thing you're going to want to look at is any pairs that have over 75% correlation, because this means that typically the chart's going to look identical. Like for example, if we were to go down here to NZD JPY, all right, you'd see AUD JPY, it has a 96% correlation with. If you look at both of those charts, they look pretty identical. So you're going to want to find other pairs that have high correlation. You can see Euro JPY also has a strong correlation with NZD JPY. And guess what? Euro JPY has also been on a bull run. So some of these things add up and make sense. You see GBP JPY as well, strong correlation. And guess what? GBP JPY has also been on a bull run. So you can notice the correlation between many pairs, and even USD JPY, strong correlation as well. So these pairs have been trending really very strong since November. So when there's a discrepancy, which, there was for a little between NJ and AJ and, Euro JPY and USD JPY and GBP JPY, they started to catch up with the movement recently and started, pulling back up. So these are all things to look at as you're a more advanced user. You can go into the correlation and study, what pairs tend to move together very similarly. And then you also can see negative correlation. What does negative correlation mean? This means that typically they tend to move in the opposite direction. So if you look at AUD JPY, it's going up, 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 and up. And you look at Euro AUD, and what's happening? It's down, 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 down. So the correlation's opposite. So when AUD JPY is buying, Euro AUD selling. So this is some more advanced knowledge for many of you, but there's also traders who have trading strategies based around these discrepancies by just looking at correlation and seeing if something's doing what it's supposed to do. If you see a big move really happen on Euro AUD and other pairs are negative correlation and they haven't moved yet, right? Like let's say in Euro AUD you saw a huge move, but you didn't see a move yet on GJ. Well, boom, it might be going in the opposite direction pretty soon. It's, there's things to look at. And again, this is more advanced information, but the goal is to build something into GearBox where it does not allow any pair that is more than 75% positive correlated to take a trade going the same direction. Meaning that if, AJ opened a sell and NZD JPY went to open a sell, it would block NZD JPY's sell and say only allow buys. So it would essentially, block you from ending up in drawdowns that potentially look the same. So it's a huge feature. And I think that feature is going to make all the difference in these markets as pairs have been trending lately, like USD CHF. And we study and look, it's correlated pretty highly as well with GJ. And what's GJ doing? Same thing here. It's highly correlated with USD JPY. What are they doing? So you can see a lot of these pairs do kind of correlate. So adding that to GearBox is really going to decrease risk, decrease drawdown, and increase profit potential, while also creating almost its own hedging feature in a way where you could go in manually and you could see that GearBox is blocking a sell on a pair that's correlated, and you could go enter the buy the other way by hitting the new enter now button, which is coming soon. To hedge your risk. So just some cool stuff, constantly advancing, and making it easier and easier. Jatil, I answered you earlier. I can't, tell you the proprietary information that the software uses to decide how it's going to trade there. I mean, I can just tell you how to use the software, but when it comes to the deeper inputs that actually determine how the software functions, that's really the proprietary information. what's the difference between A level B and B level? Really awesome question. So there's two different algos that trade, which is really the counter trend and the trend. So A and B are really just a counter trend and a trend. So, you know, it can go both ways, but it depends on which one's triggered for the algo to take the trade. They can never exist at the same time, only separate. So if a sell A level goes in, a sell B level can't exist at the same time, but they do both exist. It's just different algos. All righty. I see nothing else going on in here right now. So with that being said, somebody said, can you show your comment setting? Well, that's, yeah, I mean, that one, you want to make sure that's a big thing when you're using the manager as well. I'm going to cover this because this is an important thing that some people forget. When you're using the manager, you're going to want to make sure as well in the manager that all these boxes are checked. And the reason for that is when you apply your strategy, if you left this box unchecked or this box unchecked, GearBox isn't going to load. Or it might load, but it won't trade because those buttons become the buttons that apply to all the GearBox charts themselves. So if you don't check them, then they're unchecked also inside the GearBox. Somebody said, does changing the charts to candlestick mess up GearBox algo? Nope, you can change it to candlesticks. Caleb said, does it perform well with indices? No, it is not programmed for indices right now. We've only focused on FX majors and minors, but in the near future, we will have more data on metals and indices because it can be customized to work on those pairs. But right now, there's nothing programmed for them, so I would not run them on those. Philip, the reboot taking charts off, we're still trying to diagnose. It seems VPS related because when I do it, oftentimes I don't have a problem. So we are investigating why that happens, but no, there's nothing that's been changed to address that in this one. But that's why the manager has all the features now because it's as simple as just hitting the button and they're all back. If your max balance protection is at 25% and the market returns for the better, do you have to change it to open levels? Levels to 6 max. Karina, if your balance protection is at 25% and it's still, you're still in over 25% drawdown and you want it to take a trade, then yes, you would have to change that. Somebody said, based on history, how long would you be in this DD? That's something I can't ever tell you. I mean, it depends. There's times I've been in trades for a month before. There's trade times I got in a pair for 2 months. So, you know, there's also times I get in and out of pairs in the same day. It's all a part of the strategy. You got to remember, GearBox is using a more institutional swing trading strategy. It's looking for larger moves in the market. It's looking to capture large moves in the market. So sometimes you got to be willing to play ball. Yeah, the pair coming off, that seems VPS and MT4 related. GearBox falling off a chart, okay, that could be speed related, but that also comes back to VPS. There's a lot of things I'm still investigating on this issue, but for now it's super easy because the manager can just reapply it if it happens. But yeah, the actual a pair physically closing itself, that I've heard about this and I'm still trying to investigate and understand that one. I see nothing else good for today here. You guys have all been wonderful. We've had a great 45-minute session here, and I look forward to rolling out many updates here to you guys soon today with many updates, enhancements. I look forward to this Einstein transition, and I look forward to continuing to help everybody, you know, continue to use GearBox to get the best results and study data to decide what pairs are best for them to run, what strategies, what makes the most sense. We want to keep things really simple. But at the same time, GearBox is GearBox because it's customizable. It's why we call it GearBox. It's like driving a manual car. It's not automatic. You can change things. You can choose your pairs. You can change your time frames. There's lots of fun things that you can do. And my goal is to continue to educate you guys on all of this every single time. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.